So my name is Trevor Fall, and I often get a lot of questions asking me how do I study and what vocabulary should I learn or memorize. I've been teaching English since 1998, and both in Indonesia as well as in Canada, and I found a couple of ways to speed up your vocabulary learning process. Today I'm going to talk about two resources that you should be using, and the first is, the start of it seems a little bit simple, but there's a list of the 1,000 most common words in English. And when you're looking at this list, it has a little bit of information in the first paragraph, but the first 300 words that are in this list, those are used in 65% of everything that you read or listen to or identify as. They're simpler words like I, them, we, can, and, but, etc. And so I encourage students, don't just jump over this section. Go through the words, and they're set up in groups of 25, and maybe you can look or glance at 25, 50, even 100 words in one day. Because what you're looking at is just, do I know these words of the meaning, and do I know how to spell them? And so let's say that you looked at 50 or 75 words a day, and so you went through the first list of 100 words. The next day or two you went through, let's say by day 3 or 4, you've gone through the first 200 words, and then you work your way down. Now as you get to more difficult words, so for example words 300 to 400, you can see that here there might be a few that are a little bit more difficult. Again, maybe this is very easy for you. You're just going through and checking off. Yeah, I know how to spell it. Yes, I know the meaning of that word. And so 50 words a day, 75, 25, depending on how much time you have. As I go further down, now we're into words 500 to 600, 700, 800, 900, etc. This is where, for example, with written, maybe you're often writing it with one T rather than two T's. So here I would slow down a bit more, and I would be looking at maybe 25 words a day, still just identifying meaning and spelling, but making sure that I know, like exercise, interest, written, even million, instruments, different words that I see students struggle with. And so this gives you a systematic list where at the start you look at more words. As it gets a bit more difficult and you go through the list, you would be looking at less words per day, but within 3 weeks, a month and a half, 6 weeks, you would be able to go through and be very familiar, know how to spell and know the meaning of the first 1,000 words that we use in English. For some people after that, they then go to more theme word lists, so words about environment or words about IT or words about nursing, depending on what their focus, their job, their interest is. But another option that you can do is go to the next list of the second 1,000 words, so 1,001 until 2,000, and same thing. You can see here they have a place to make a check mark, and you can be identifying, do I know how to spell it? Do I know the meaning of that word? Now for those of you who are, so I would do this regardless of your learning general English or academic English, but for those of you that are moving into the academic arena, then I would also recommend going to the academic word list. So there was research done where they looked at many different textbooks in 10 or 12 different majors, so history, psychology, chemistry, biology, science, maths, all of these different areas, and they pulled out and identified what are the most common words, the root words, meaning the base of the word, and they came up with a list of 570. And so they have these in groups of about 55 or 60 words. And again, similar to the general English, I would be working my way and making sure I know the meaning and how to spell it. It does get a little bit boring, I'll be honest, but if you're looking at say 10 or 15 new words a day, again, these are the most common, so you're going to see these regularly, not just in the field that you're studying or working in, but in day-to-day English, and if you're reading business journals, academic journals, etc., you would go through. So they have 10 sub-lists, and like I said, of about 55, 60 words in each sub-list. And then what's also nice with this is they have a website. Let me just go and open it up. So they have a website where they explain a little bit more detail about what is it, why you should be learning these words, and then exercises about them. And so when I click on the exercises, it gives information, and then it divides it into each sublist. And then when I click on the sublist, it gives me exercises for that section of words. And the way it does it is, again, for some people they find this a little bit boring, but basically it gives you a list of 10 sentences. It gives you 10 of the words from that sublist, and then it wants you to match the vocabulary. So you can go through and be matching in that setting. As you're doing this, then you know, so if you go, so you find the words, you add them in. At the bottom of the screen, let me just move this, you can check the words, and then you can go to the next exercise. Each sublist has about 8 or 10 exercises where they recycle and practice these words. So it gives you a pretty thorough usage of those words. Other things you can be doing is writing down the words, maybe writing it down once and then practice saying it, and practice maybe writing it 5 times, 10 times, using it in sentences, looking for synonyms. One resource also with vocabulary is using the Oxford Dictionary. And the reason many teachers recommend this is they have, let me just go there, so let me do a search for a word, exercise. Okay. So when you go to the word, it identifies, and the reason a lot of people like using this is it has both British and American English pronunciation. So I can just click on that.
Exercise.
Okay, and the volume is quite low, so maybe I'll just do that again once I've turned the volume up. I'm able to. But this gives you a chance to hear, turn the volume up that way. Let's try that again.
Exercise.
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 Exercise. So very slight difference, but there is a bit of a difference. But it gives me a list of different words. What is the meaning? How do we use it? How common, like how frequently do we use it? And so, and if I click on, you know, different areas where we can be using the word exercise, and then how we use it in compound or derivatives. So Oxford Dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary, Longman's Dictionary, those are 3, and I'll just open up the Longman's. Just open up Longman's Dictionary, because some of the dictionaries also have the words used in sentences, and so that also helps. Okay. So that also helps. Again, they have the pronunciation.
Exercise. Exercise.
Okay. They have different sections with the words, how it's often used, and then let me just see. So then they have some sentences where you can be looking at and using those words. So you can see it in a variety of situations. And usually nowadays on the internet you can add it's not an app, but you can add a feature where they will pronounce sentences or sections of whatever it is that you're reading. It's like a read out loud feature. And so that can be another way where you can be hearing how these sentences are being used, and it allows you to be hearing the words in a sentence, so not just a word by itself, but the intonation and the rhythm of a complete sentence. So that's the advice that I have for learning vocabulary, general vocabulary, academic vocabulary, and using dictionaries. So I look forward to seeing you in some of the other videos that I'll be doing, where I talk in more detail about listening, about reading, about writing, about speaking. also pronunciation. And if you have other questions, you can be in touch with me in the comments below. Thank you.